For those that don't know me, my name is Rod Earls. I've had the privilege of serving with our Central Valley Baptist Association, sister association here in the Valley area of California since 2007. I'm sharing this just to hopefully give an opportunity for us to have a more coordinated, concerted effort in prayer and in action steps in response to the recommendation that's been made to close down Jeunesse and sell it. I'm addressing this because originally Jeunesse Park, the land came from this association in 1953 as a gift to the California Southern Baptist Convention. So all that shared, there's been so many people communicating their prayers, their concerns, and I, along with so many others, are so grateful to everyone that's been praying and wanting to see God's work continue at Jeunesse. So, with that, I wanted to say quickly a huge thank you. There's so many working on vital information that must be acquired so that we can intelligently know what we should do about Jeunesse. I want to recognize Nicole Angeles from the First Baptist Patterson Church has been devoting so much time researching, finding out information. Vi Estel is going to be helping also with that research. And then Phil Kell has uh, commented to us his understanding of things. And so there are so many others working so diligently. And I want to make it clear if we're going to go forward, we want to be transparent and respectful and certainly reverencing God in all of our comments, all of our thoughts, all of our actions that we will take. And it will take all of us together in order to, if we feel led of God, to try to save Jeunesse if it's going to happen. So there's two things I just want to share briefly. And I'm sending documents to give you a lot of information, but there's lots more being uncovered regarding Jeunesse past and what that will inform us of a possible future. So, uh, two things. Yes, we either learn from the past or we repeat the past. So that, and then also the fact that a new wineskin is always required for more fruitfulness in the sense of God's renewed power and blessing us. So, those two understandings we want to be honoring in all of our steps forward on this concern and challenge. So, in learning from our past, we know that decision making must come from the bottom up. That's not news. We've all learned that in our own home life. I've made that mistake so many times as a pastor and otherwise trying to serve with precious people of God and others. So, the fact that it's very difficult for good decision making to be made when it's distanced from the ground where that action is taking place. Um, when I was doing my PhD work at Southwestern, we were required to do some university work. And at the University of Texas, Arlington, I took management courses and they talked about decentralization. And I remember them telling stories about it as we studied through our text, even like McDonald's. The Big Mac ideal came from the local franchise, but Chicago at headquarters listened to the local franchise to put that into motion. And these matters are so important for us to look at everything that's gone in the past and then going forward. Phil Kell mentioned the reasoning and understanding of why Jeunesse did not have its own camp board is something for us to understand together collectively in whatever we do going forward. But that said, and I'm saying that to say no one is at fault. It just when there is a decision making process that's removed from any work, it allows for non sufficient information to be acted upon and making decisions. And of course, with that, oftentimes good decisions can't be processed or implemented. And certainly it challenges trust at those points when that's the case. And I'll use two illustrations. And again, I wanted to underscore we all want to understand we're all in this together, none of us without fault, and we all have to take responsibility. Two lessons from our Southern Baptist practices. One is our IMB and the actions after 2010, selling off properties around the world, decreasing the missionary numbers. We know from Tanzania, from one of our churches in our association that has a relationship there, then also in our partnership with Guatemala, those field partners sharing with us that when they offered to IMB, asking if they could purchase the IMB properties they had been working with for years, that they were refused because it was said that the properties would be sold to the highest buyer for having more money for kingdom business. That's good rationale, but I think we need to favor on the side of faithfulness and loyalty. It's talked about so much in the book of Proverbs, and it's really strained the relationships uh, between our national, international field partners and the IMB and the work. Then my own experience working at the North American Mission Board, 2003 to 7, there was a experience often understanding fifth floor makes decisions. We had 5 floors at the Alpharetta building. They make those decisions without necessarily needing to or always practicing getting the input from the 4 floors below. And it was also something that at times showed up with our partnerships and our state convention work between NAM and state partners around the nation. And that's lessons we want to take note of. I had a personal experience in that after being invited by one of our vice presidents at NAM to offer ideas, which I prayed about and carefully then wrote out and expressed. I was made known that I shouldn't be doing that in the future. All that to say, again, all of us have made these mistakes. So, what that means to us going forward, we want to be listening to one another, getting the facts, praying, listening to God, and being able to have sound trust between us. And I believe the state convention, however it happened, was in a disadvantageous situation trying to administrate the things and decision-making policies being enacted at Jeunesse Park. Whatever all those facts will reveal to us of the past, we have to take into consideration carefully for any decisions going forward if we feel led to try to save Jeunesse. So that said, there are interviews going on. There's a lot of research going on, and we're asking for uh, questions regarding the past, the fiscal situation, and what we need to understand in order to make, again, sound decisions. So, our next steps, we realize if we are to save Jeunesse, we know that $1.4 million is going to have to be resolved. Before we can ask people to give money, we have to come up with a plan how that money is going to be used. And we have to answer how will Jeunesse Park, if it's saved, be operated in the future in the black? And we understand to this point and what we're seeing that that's going to probably require a lot of volunteerism work for the future if Jeunesse is to be saved, and are collectively doing that work together as Southern Baptists, seeing it used for Christ work under our guidance. So we just want to ask you to keep praying. We will be revealing more information in these next 7 to 9 days. And the volunteerism was something we were noticing already in the history books that was very prominent in the first, to say, 20, 25, 30 years of Jeunesse's life. So thank you so much again, first and foremost, for all your prayer. Thank you to everyone for the passion that's been expressed about what God has done at Jeunesse. We all are familiar with so many stories. Our younger ones, we want to pass those stories on to, but it's dear to all of us what we've seen Christ do. And whatever we do, if God leads us to try to save Jeunesse, we want to do that in such a way so that more churches can participate in Jeunesse and using that as a year-round tool in their personal strategizing of the events they participate in annually or semi-annually at Jeunesse, how they can do evangelism and disciple making in their churches strategies, including that of what they do going forward using Jeunesse wisely. Thank you so much.